So students, today I'm going to discuss with you all the Ganga river system from chapter number 3, drainage. In our previous class, we have discussed about the differences between the Himalayan and the peninsular drainage system, and I have also discussed about the Indus river system, okay, which is one of the most important Himalayan drainage system actually. So, today we are mainly focusing on the Ganga river system, and this Ganga river system is the most important Himalayan river. Okay, the Ganga river system is the most important Himalayan river system, and it occupies a larger part of our country. Okay, the Ganga river system or the Ganga drainage basin, it occupies a larger portion of our country. So, let us discuss in details about this Ganga river system. So, as I have said earlier, that the river, the Himalayan rivers, basically the three important Himalayan rivers, that is the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, they have its origin at different locations in the Himalaya. Okay, so basically the Indus and the Brahmaputra, they originates from the northern part of the Himalayas. Okay, means from the northern side of the Himalaya, that is from the Tibetan region actually. Okay, but the Ganga is the Himalayan river which originates from the Indian region, okay, which originates from the Indian territory. Okay. So the river Ganga, it has been formed by two rivers actually. Okay, the two rivers, they have joined together to form the river Ganga. That is the Bhagirathi and the Alaknanda. The Bhagirathi and the Alaknanda, these are the two important rivers which has joined together, and it has led to the formation of the river Ganga actually. Okay, so it is said that the Bhagirathi river, okay, it gets its water. The Bhagirathi river, it gets its water from the Gangotri glacier. That means it originates from the Gangotri glaciers. Okay, and it is the main stream of Ganga actually. Okay, it is the main stream of Ganga. So the Bhagirathi river, it originates from the Gangotri glaciers near Gaumukh. Okay, and it flows for few kilometers, and after flowing for few kilometers, it is joined by another river, and the name of this another river is Alaknanda. Okay, so the Bhagirathi river, which originates from the Gangotri glacier, okay, it is being joined by the Alaknanda river at Devprayag. Devprayag is the name of a place in Uttarakhand where the Bhagirathi river and the Alaknanda river, they both join together. Okay, and from here, from Devprayag, both the rivers, they combine together and starts flowing in the name of Ganga. Okay, so basically the Ganga river, okay, it is mainly formed by two rivers, that is the Bhagirathi and the Ganga. Okay, and after flowing through the hilly areas, okay, after flowing through the hill ranges in the state of Uttarakhand, the Ganga river, it emerges out of the mountains, it emerges out of the hilly ranges, okay, and enters the plain areas, okay, at Haridwar. So Haridwar is the place, we all know Haridwar is a famous religious place, actually pilgrimage place, okay. So at Haridwar, the river Ganga, it emerges from the mountains, okay, and it enters the plain areas, okay. And after this, okay, after this, the river Ganga, it starts flowing in different direction, okay. It starts flowing towards the south, it enters the state of Uttar Pradesh. After flowing in Uttar Pradesh in towards, okay, towards the east, okay, southeast actually, it enters the state of Bihar. And after flowing from the state of Bihar, it enters the state of West Bengal, and from West Bengal, okay, it enters the one branch, it enters Bangladesh, okay, and another branch, it joins the Bay of Bengal. Okay. So here in this map, you can see that the river Ganga, okay, here you can see that the river Ganga, it has originated from, okay, in this portion actually, you can see that two rivers, they have joined together, okay. One is the Bhagirathi, which gets its water from the Gangotri glacier, and another one is the Alaknanda. Okay, so these both rivers, okay, these both rivers, they have joined together, and it has led to the formation of the Ganga. And then the Ganga river is flowing, okay, towards the southeast, towards the east, it enters Bihar, and finally through West Bengal, it enters the Bay of Bengal. And in its course, actually, okay, in its course, the Ganga river is made, okay, is joined by different tributaries actually, okay, different tributaries, they join the river Ganga from both the sides, from both the left and the right bank actually. Okay, so let us study about those tributaries of river Ganga. The Ganga is joined by many tributaries from the Himalayas, a few of them being major rivers such as the Yamuna, the Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi. So the Ganga river is mainly joined by many tributaries from the Himalayas. Okay, so there are many rivers which originate from the Himalayan region, Okay, they flow and they ultimately join the river Ganga as its tributaries. Okay, and some of the major rivers. Okay, some of the major rivers which join the river Ganga as its tributaries are the Yamuna River, the Ghagra River, the Gandak River, and the Kosi River. Okay, these are the some of the important. These are some of the major Himalayan rivers which are the tributaries of river Ganga. Okay, the Yamuna River, it originates at the Yamunotri glaciers. The Yamuna River, it originates at the Yamunotri glaciers. Okay, it flows parallel to the river Ganga, and finally the Yamuna River, it joins the river Ganga at Allahabad. The river Yamuna rises from the Yamunotri glaciers in the Himalayas, and it flows parallel to Ganga, and as a right bank tributary meets the Ganga at Allahabad. Okay, so the river Yamuna, which is one of the which is another important river of our country, which has its origin in the Himalayas from the Yamunotri glaciers actually. Okay, it flows parallel to the river Ganga. Okay, and it joins the river Ganga as a right bank tributary. That means it joins the river Ganga from the right hand side. Okay, at Allahabad. So Allahabad is the name of the place from where does the river Yamuna and the Ganga, they both join together. Okay, and apart from Yamuna, the other important tributaries of river Ganga are the Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi. Okay, these are the other three important things. These are the other three important tributaries of river Ganga. Okay, which has its origin in the Himalayas, but they basically originate not from the Indian territory. Actually, they originate from the territory of Nepal. Okay, they have its origin in the Nepal Himalaya. The Ghagra, the Gandhak, and the Kosi, they rise in the Nepal Himalayas. Okay, and these are the rivers which flood parts of the northern plains every year, causing widespread damage to the life and property, and whereas they enrich the soil for the agricultural use. Okay, so the Ghagra River, the Gandak River, and the Kosi River, they has its origin in the Nepal Himalayas. Okay, they entered the Indian territory and they ultimately joins the river Ganga as its tributary. Okay, and these three rivers, that is the Gandak, the Kosi, and the Ghagra, they are mainly responsible for large-scale flood. Okay, these three rivers, they basically cause a huge flood. Okay, flood-like situation in our country, basically in the northern plains. Okay, so every year during the rainy season, a flood takes place. Okay, in the northern part, northern plains of our country, because of these three important tributaries of river Ganga. That is the Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi. Okay. But one benefit is that these rivers every year they bring along with them the fine sediments. Okay, and these fine sediments it helps in renewing the fertility of the soil in the northern plains and makes the soil fertile. Okay, so like the Kosi River it originates in Nepal Himalaya. Okay, and it enters India in the state of Bihar actually. Okay, and the river Kosi it causes a large scale destruction. Okay, it causes a large scale loss of life and property during the rainy season. Okay, because it causes huge flood. Okay, and this is the reason that the Kosi River is known as the sorrow of Bihar. Okay, the Kosi River is known as the sorrow of Bihar. Like the Damodar River, which is one important tributary of river Ganga actually. Okay, it is considered as the sorrow of Bengal. Okay, and in the same way, the Kosi River is also considered as the sorrow of Bihar. Okay, because every year Bihar gets flooded because of the Kosi River. Okay. So apart from the Himalayan tributaries, okay, apart from the Himalayan rivers, which are the tributaries of river Ganga, there are also some other tributaries of river Ganga which has its origin in the peninsular plateau region. Okay, which has its origin in the peninsular plateau region. So the important tributaries which comes from the peninsular uplands are the Chambal, the Betwa, and the Son. Okay. So the Chambal River, the Betwa River, and the Son River. Okay, these are the other three important rivers. Okay, which has its origin in the peninsular plateau region. And to be more precise, these three rivers they originate from the Central Highlands. Okay, the three rivers they originate from the Central Highlands. Okay, and they cause much scale. They originate from the Central Highlands. Okay, and they flow towards the eastern side actually. Okay, and they ultimately join the river Ganga. Okay, these rivers, the Chambal, the Betwa, and the Son, as they originate from the semi-arid area, so there does not have a huge supply of water. Okay, there does not have a huge supply of water, and they does not have a longer course actually. They have a shorter course. They flow for few kilometers and they join the river Ganga. So the Chambal, the Betwa, and the Sindh, okay, Son. The Chambal, the Betwa, and the Son, they rises from the semi-arid areas. They have a shorter course and they do not carry much water in them. Okay, and finally they join the river Ganga actually. Okay, so basically the river Ganga is joined by many tributaries. Okay, there are many tributaries of river Ganga on both the sides, on both the left and the right bank tributaries. Okay, on the both the left and the right side, the river Ganga is joined by numerous tributaries. Okay, many rivers from the peninsular plateau region as well as many rivers from the Himalayas. Okay, of which they join the river Ganga actually, and it increases. Okay, and these all tributaries, it increases the flow of the river actually. So here you can see that the river Ganga is flowing. Okay, after originating in Uttarakhand, it flows, it enters Uttar Pradesh. Okay, and it starts flowing in Uttar Pradesh for a longer distance. Okay, it flows in Uttar Pradesh for a quite long distance and then it enters Bihar. Okay, so in its course, you can see that the river Ganga is joined, okay, from the right hand side by the river Yamuna. Okay, the river Yamuna, it joins the river Ganga. Okay, and the Chambal, the Betwa, okay, these are the two rivers actually which join the river Yamuna. Okay, and then it joins the river Ganga actually. Okay. And on the other hand, here also you can see that the Son River, okay, it also originates in the Central Highland from the eastern part of the Central Highland, and it flows, okay, towards the Ganga. It is joined by the river Ganga actually. The Ghagra River on the left hand side, okay, the Ghagra River on the other side actually, which originates from the Nepal Himalayas, okay, it joins the river Ganga. The Gandak, it also joins the river Ganga, and the Kosi River, okay, which enters Bihar from Nepal, it also joins the river Ganga. Okay, and ultimately the river Ganga, it enters the state of West Bengal. Okay, and after entering the state of West Bengal, the river Ganga, it flows towards the south. Okay, the river Ganga, it flows straight towards the south. Okay, till Farakka. Till Farakka, the river, it flows towards the south, and at Farakka, the river gets bifurcated into two divisions. Okay, the river Ganga, it gets bifurcated into two divisions. So these are the two divisions of the river Ganga, okay, are the Hooghly and the Bhagirathi. Okay, the Hooghly and the Bhagirathi. So let us study about this. Okay. So enlarged with waters with the right and the left bank tributaries, the Ganga flows eastward till Farakka in West Bengal. Okay, so the river, it becomes, the Ganga river, it becomes much enlarged actually. Okay, the flow of the river increases. Okay, because many tributaries, they drain the water in the river Ganga and ultimately increases the flow of the river. Okay, until Farakka, the river flows in the east side. Okay, in the eastern side, basically in the eastern part of our country. Okay, the river flows till Farakka in West Bengal. Okay, the Farakka barrage. Okay, and this is the northernmost point of the Ganga Delta. Okay, and it is the northernmost point of the Ganga Delta region actually. And here at Farakka barrage, okay, the river Ganga, it bifurcates. Okay, bifurcates means it divides into two divisions. Okay, and these two divisions are the Bhagirathi and the Hooghly. Okay, the two divisions of the river Ganga are the Bhagirathi and the Hooghly. So here you can say that the Bhagirathi river and the Hooghly river, these are the two distributary of river Ganga. Tributary means the rivers which join the main river. Okay, the small rivers which join the main river, they are known as the tributary of the main river. And distributary means when the main river, it gets bifurcated or it gets divided into numerous channels or numerous branches, they are known as the distributary. So here in this case, the river Ganga, it gets bifurcated into two, that is Bhagirathi and Hooghly. Okay, so these are the two distributary of river Ganga. Okay, and they flow southward. Okay, so from Farakka, actually from Farakka barrage, the river Ganga, it flows in the southern direction. Okay, it flows southwards through the deltic plains to the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so it flows through the deltic plains and finally enters the Bay of Bengal. The mainstream, okay, the mainstream of river Ganga, it enters Bangladesh. Okay, the mainstream flows southward into Bangladesh and is joined by the river Brahmaputra. Okay, so here basically the river Ganga, okay, it gets bifurcated into two, that is Bhagirathi and Hooghly, and the main one, okay, the mainstream, that is the Bhagirathi, okay, it enters Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, okay, it flows for a quite distance in Bangladesh, okay, and where it is met by the river Brahmaputra. Okay, it is joined by the river Brahmaputra. Okay, and again it flows towards the Bay of Bengal, and finally, okay, it joins the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so further downstream, it is known as the Meghna. Okay, further downstream in the low-lying areas, the river Ganga. Okay, that is the Bhagirathi, which the river Ganga, which enters in this Bangladesh part actually. Okay, after it is joined by the river Brahmaputra, it is known as Meghna actually. Okay, sometimes we also call it as like Padma or Padda when it enters Bangladesh. Okay, so this mighty river with waters from the Ganga and the Brahmaputra, it flows into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so ultimately the river Ganga, okay, it joins with river Brahmaputra and drains into the Bay of Bengal. And the largest delta, that is the Sundarban Delta, is being formed by the river Ganga. Okay, and the delta formed by this river is known as the Sundarban Delta. Okay, so the Sundarban Delta is actually is the largest delta in our country, which has been formed by the river Ganga. Okay, so here you can see when the river Ganga is joined by the river Kosi, okay, after flowing for few kilometers, okay, here it gets bifurcated. Okay, here it gets bifurcated into two. Okay, and the main stream it enters Bangladesh. Okay, and the other stream, which is also known as Hooghly, it enters. It goes to the southern part of West Bengal. Okay, it goes to the southern West Bengal. Okay, and finally it discharges its water into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so basically the Ganga they discharge. Okay, the Ganga river it discharges its water in the Bay of Bengal. Okay, in two different locations. Okay, one through the Bangladesh and one through West Bengal. So here in Bangladesh, you can see the river Ganga is again joined by the river Brahmaputra. Okay, so after joining with river Brahmaputra, it is known as Meghna, and ultimately it joins the ultimately it joins this Bay of Bengal actually. Okay, and it leads to the formation of the deltas. So this Ganga River, okay, the Ganga River is one of the most important river of our country. It has a very long course, okay, and the delta which is being formed by this river Ganga is known as the Sundarban Delta, okay, and this Sundarban Delta has been named after the Sundari trees, okay, because in this Sundarban Delta we find the presence of the Sundari trees, okay, and these Sundari trees can survive well in the saline water conditions. Basically in the deltic regions or in the deltas, what happens, the land is very much marshy in nature as well as it is saline. Okay, that means the salt composition is very much higher in the land actually. Okay, so the other varieties of trees they cannot grow here. Okay, so basically this Sundari trees, okay, they grow here in this region, and the delta region has been named after this Sundari trees. It is the world's largest and the fastest growing delta. So this Sundarban Delta is the world's largest delta as well as the fastest growing delta in the world. Okay. And it is also famous for the Royal Bengal tiger because it is the home of the Royal Bengal tigers. Okay. Like the Royal Bengal tigers can be found only in the Sundarban Delta. Actually. Okay. So this Sundarban Delta is very much famous, okay, for its biodiversity because here we can find different varieties of plant species, different varieties of birds, okay, as well as it is also the house of the Royal Bengal tiger. Actually. Okay. So the river Ganga, it is the largest river. It is the longest river of our country. Okay, and it flows for almost 2,500 kilometers. Okay, the river Ganga it has a total length of almost 2,500 kilometers. Okay, it actually more than 2,500 kilometers. Okay, and the total length of the river Ganga is exactly 2,525 kilometers. Okay, the total length of river Ganga is 2,525 kilometers. Okay, and it is the longest river of our country. Okay, and the Ganga River basically, okay, basically in Ambala is the name of a place in the northwestern part of the country near in Punjab actually. Okay, here in Ambala, okay, like it formed the Ambala is an uplifted area. Okay, Ambala is an uplifted area which forms, which acts like a water divide. Okay, Ambala it acts like a water divide between the Ganga River basin, okay, and the Indus River basin actually. So Ambala is located on the water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river system. Okay, and it is acting just like a water divide. Okay, from the western side of Ambala actually. Okay, northwestern side of Ambala, the Indus river system can be found, and in the northeastern part actually. Okay, in the southern part, the Ganga river system is there. The plains from Ambala to Sundarban stretch over nearly 1800 kilometers, but the fall in its slope is hardly 300 meters. Okay, so from Ambala till Sundarban, the entire plain area which has been formed by the river Ganga, okay, the total length of the plain is almost 1800 kilometers. Okay, so you can see here that almost, okay, the length of the northern plain is around 2500 kilometers. Okay, so out of this 2,500 kilometer length of the northern plains, 1800 of the 1800 kilometers stretch of the northern plains is formed by the river Ganga only. Okay, that means a major portion of the northern plains has been formed by the river Ganga. Okay. And the slope, okay, and the fall in its slope is hardly 300 meters. Means from Ambala to Sundarban, the gradient is 300 meters. Okay, means from Sundarban till Ambala, the height of the plain is 300 meter actually. Okay. In other words, there is just a fall of 1 meter for every 6 kilometers. Okay, that means for every 6 kilometers, okay, after every 6 kilometers, there is a decrease of 1 meter height in the plains. Okay, northern plains actually. Okay, and this has favored. Okay, this has favored the development of the meanders. This has favored the development of the meanders in this northern plains. So basically, the river Ganga, okay, it is a meandering river. Meandering river means the river, it flows in a zigzag pattern, S-like patterns, okay, and it leads to the formation of the meanders. So like in our previous class, we have discussed what is meander actually. Okay, so when the rivers, they flow in a S-like patterns, it forms the meander actually. So the Ganga river is the most important river, okay, and it is also considered as the holy river of our country. Okay, and there are many places located on the bank of the river Ganga, okay, which are the places of tourist attraction, basically, which are, they are the places of religious practice, okay, pilgrimage. So every year, okay, like thousands of tons of waste products, okay, from these places, from these temples and also are being dumped into the river Ganga, which causes pollution of river Ganga. Okay, not only this, but also the river Ganga actually, okay, like many industries has been set up along the banks of the river Ganga. Okay, so these industries, they discharge their waste materials on Ganga river, and it causes pollution of the river Ganga. Okay, so apart from the industries, apart from the this religious practices and all, okay, agricultural sector is also responsible for the pollution of river Ganga, because in the agricultural fields, huge amount of chemical fertilizers and the pesticides are being used. Okay, so some amount of chemical fertilizers and the pesticides are washed away, okay, by the irrigation water, and they this water gets drained through the small channels, through the small streams and all, and these small streams, they join the main river, okay, and ultimately the main rivers, they join the river Ganga, and it causes pollution of river Ganga actually. Okay, and if you if you see like the data actually, you will see that the two most polluted river of our country are the Ganga and the Yamuna. Okay, the Ganga and the Yamuna are the most polluted rivers of our country. Okay, so in order to reduce the pollution of our of river Ganga, actually, in order to rejuvenate the river, okay, the government has launched a program. The government has launched a program, okay, to reduce the pollution in river Ganga, to rejuvenate the river Ganga, actually. Okay, and the name of the program is Namami Gange program. Okay, the name of the program is Namami Gange program. So the Namami Ganga program is an integrated conservation mission approved as a flagship program by the Union government, that is the central government, in June 2014. Okay, so this Namami Ganga program was introduced. Okay, it came into existence in the year 2014 in the month of June. Okay, and there were two main objectives. Okay, there were two main objectives behind launching this program by the central government. Okay, what were the two objectives? The twin objectives of this Namami Ganga program was effective abatement of pollution. That means to reduce the pollution, okay, in the river Ganga. And the next objective is to conserve and rejuvenate the national river. Okay, to conserve and rejuvenate the river Ganga actually. Okay, so you can have some more information about this Namami Ganga program in this link which has been given here actually. Okay, nmcg.nic.in/Namami Ganga.sspx. So if you access this link, actually, you will be getting various informations. You will be getting various data. Okay, that where the river Ganga is more polluted, what are the main causes of the pollution of river Ganga? Okay, So basically, the river Ganga is mainly polluted. Okay, the river Ganga is mainly polluted in its middle course actually. Like in the state of Uttar Pradesh only, the river Ganga is mainly polluted because of the presence of various religious places, pilgrimage places, as well as because of the presence of various industries. So this is what about the river Ganga. Okay, the Ganga river system, which is the most important river system of our country, and which has led to the formation. Okay, which has led to the formation of a major part of the northern plains.